Hello, I'm Yana Lyashenko, a Google logistician. I handle delivery of a business's target audience. My mission is to scale online sales for businesses using Google advertising tools. Today, we will essentially talk about a mistake in structuring your performance max when you try to build your structure according to your native quadrant. And the essence of this quadrant is that you analyze your product positions based on whether they sell, don't sell, sell poorly, sell a little, and so on. For example, in America, this analysis includes hero products that sell very well. With some Ukrainian bloggers, you might come across information such as bestsellers or top positions, something like that, like. There are products in America, for example, Zombie, Dead, and some others. They conduct this slot analysis differently. Mine also comes from simple, basic economic analysis. These are cow pies, dead dogs, bundles, and zeros, and more. This is how I break it down. I often encounter this kind of breakdown during consultations, which specifically relates to the division of bestsellers. They have top products that should sell and all other products. And in this breakdown, one big mistake is often made. In some niches, these bestsellers are incorrectly selected. Sometimes they are moved to a separate advertising campaign and they completely stop working. Not because of the advertising budget or anything related to it, but because the products were incorrectly selected. In this video, I will show you where to find this information, whether it is truly a bestseller or not a bestseller at all. In general, for a product position to become a bestseller, that is, your products, these cash cows, as I call them, I will use my terminology for me. It's a cash cow. This is a product that can generate sales month after month, and it can easily do so because you are increasing clicks on it. If the opposite situation occurs, where the performances completely break down and these products stop working, this actually happens very often, even though these products are bestsellers, right? Cash cows. This means you have incorrectly selected these cash cows. Usually, the problem occurs in small accounts where the sales of the cash cow journalists are less than 50 to 60 per week. Then many projects face this issue. And when you try to group them somehow, that's where the problem arises. So globally, the signal you are concerned with and setting up doesn't significantly impact the effective performance in any significant way. It does participate in the process. In the initial A/B tests, performance might later indicate that it is not suitable and take a different direction. You can analyze this based on your own statistics. Or the object, availability. No, your feed that you upload is the basis for understanding the AI machine learning here about who to target. Therefore, a lot depends on the structure of your products. I will show you an advertising account with a very interesting situation. Here, if something is analyzed incorrectly, it can be completely classified as dead weight and put on hold. On the contrary, some items can be incorrectly identified as products that might sell. Moreover, there are situations where, for example, this product position should ideally be a bestseller. In this project, we encountered situations where the client would say, this product position should be in high demand right now for this holiday or something like that. We try to launch it separately, and it doesn't work at all. I mean, we spend money and it does nothing. We turn it off, but what do? We get clever with it, combine it with other products, and it starts to sell. I will show you this using an example from one of the reports, like the one here as an example. This report is very easy for you. It's a standard report. You don't need to generate it somewhere or create it yourself. Google will offer it to you directly. It is extremely simple, without any complications. I won't even add any complications here. It is based on sold products. In order for it to form and open up for you, essentially, the possibility of forming it, you need to properly configure the transmission of the purchase tag itself. That is, the Google purchase and add to cart tags. Yes, but look, we never convert adding to the cart into a primary goal because if you do that, something might go wrong, and then you'll say that bloggers on YouTube said something wrong. But the correct transfer is if you actually look there, you need to transfer items. That is, so that it understands the product ID, quantity, price, it can transmit all of this beautifully. So, where did we leave off? Look, we have this cool report. This is one of the elements of product analysis. Product analysis can be quite varied. In most cases, the client wants to see a direct increase in the number of conversions in the advertising campaign to see some growth. Product analysis is conducted slightly differently. Here, I am showing a situation where it won't work any other way, like making some intersections of these products or structures. Overall, if we look at the foreign project, it seems we have Italy here, indeed, a beautiful country. It is indeed important to understand that most of such businesses in Europe or America do not have a very extensive product assortment. For example, we have auto parts, and there are 700,000 product positions needing to be sold. There are also such patterns, especially in large turnovers and major product positions, which can also be tracked. But the volumes of these products are small there, so it is a bit more convenient for them to analyze. So don't think that if you have 100,000 products, you can analyze just that. About 98% of your product range simply doesn't work, so focus on everything that has at least 50 to 60 clicks on products. For example, at least per month or ideally per week. You can ignore everything else in this analysis. And what do we see here? We see the following picture. Let me decode what these columns mean. Here we have units sold, lead units sold, and cross-sale units sold. What do they mean? What do they signify? I will use examples provided by Google because most likely it will be much simpler this way. Units sold refers to the total number of products that have been sold. Let's put it this way, it is the number of products sold in orders that are associated with clicks on this product position. Understood, the total quantity. This unit sold is directly the number of orders for this specific product position, clicks. Clicks, clicks, and then orders for this product position. This cross-sell means that these cross-sell sales were made through a click on this product position. Let me explain. Google provides a very cool, as they tell me, a very great example here. For example, if we are selling hats, shirts, and jackets there. If the click was on the hat, let's say it's the first ID, it's a hat, they bought a hat, a shirt, and a jacket, then this column will display 3 items. This order contained 3 because it is related to the click on this ad on this product. Lead unit sold is when we have the same hat, jacket, and shirt, but this hat was purchased directly. So here we have one piece, for example, conditionally. And the cross-sell unit, we go back, the hat, the jacket, and the shirt. The click was on the hat, right, bought directly. We bought a hat, a shirt, and a jacket, but we are already displaying 2 items without this hat, which was clicked on. Well, if anything, you can go back in case I confused you. Here is the entire summary. I will go over it. Someone will want to translate it. Revenue, lead revenue, cross-sale revenue. What does this give us? Revenue and cross-sale revenue. What does this give us? Look, there are situations when, for example, you have this product position. Let's take the second ID. It straightens out the sale, but converts very poorly. Remember that situation I told you about? The client says, it's a great position, it should convert. So you put it separately because all you need are clicks. If it's a cash cow, you launch it, but it doesn't sell. But because of it, completely different product positions are being sold. Remember? Jackets and shirts. So jackets and shirts are selling, but hats are not selling on this thing. And for that, you might get the impression from this analysis that this cash cow is actually not a cash cow, but a dead beaten dog that needs to be excluded and forgotten. That's it. It is a cornerstone. But if we do not take these intersections into account, it will turn out that we exclude a real cash cow. Therefore, in this case, the cash cow needs to be crossed with something else in order for it to start converting. For example, there are situations when it starts converting as soon as you intersect it with something else. There are generally only cross-sells in these products rather than direct sales. At the beginning of this project, when we were testing the direct sales strategy, meaning advertising this product, it was supposed to give us a certain profitability, specifically the cost per sale of a certain size, and additionally provide growth in conversions as traffic increased. And always, when we reach the stage where we are at the minimum with these small conversions, we keep transitioning. But as soon as we start driving significantly more traffic, our profitability gets eaten up and conversions don't particularly increase. And so it is necessary to track what patterns exist. They completely change the strategy, starting with intersections and restructuring the framework. So the main focus here is not on the signals themselves, but on the structures of product intersections. Therefore, some products that were previously completely dead dogs start converting because they receive traffic from a completely different product position. Why does this happen? Let me explain. Your performance is not just an analog of smart shopping. Smart shopping was a bit primitive. He was using simple machine modeling. Machine modeling is generally very primitive. It takes the weighted average statistics and targets based on that. In most cases, this is a weighted average statistic. These were dynamic remarketing lists, people who were on your site. It simply observed the behavior mechanics and followed them. Therefore, in some cases, for those who remember, one of the recommendations for smart shopping was, relatively speaking for veterans, to add new traffic. The recommendation from Googlers was to add fresh traffic. They recommended there, some from regular search, some from smart display campaigns, but that's not the point. In performance, they fixed this thing a bit because besides machine modeling and perfect mechanisms, no one knows what mechanisms are there. I think the people who created all this are silent. There were 3 or 4 of them, and they were paid well to keep quiet, or there were threats. But here Google tells us that there is also AI involved, and AI is capable of learning. So, what makes the system actually cool? In what she sees, more precisely, if you set everything up correctly, the same dynamic marketing, analytics, and all the beautiful events for him, he will see what is happening with your product on the site. By the way, this is the nuance when I say do not duplicate feeds, especially for performance. Duplicates should not be made because it is important for performance to see what happens with the user after the click, what happens on the site. Why? So, what happens to performance after a person visits the website? There, they can take a certain action. At the very least, they can completely leave the site. Performance can see this and start to downrank these products. Therefore, on duplicate feeds, very often in recent weeks, your performances might slightly drop in reach. Secondly, he can, for example, add a product to the cart and proceed to purchase. Or, as in this project, he can also perform the process of searching and selecting a product. Because this is a niche where it is very difficult to immediately Google all the parameters of the product you want to buy so that Google can substitute it. People click on the product and then browse the catalog to look for variations of the set, or with some extras, or a completely different product. Because people don't always Google things like age, gender, color, patterns, prints, sizes, or anything else, they don't always Google that. Therefore, it is often very difficult to immediately present the correct product position to performance so that a conversion happens right away. Usually, a different mechanism occurs. He sees that, for example, a person entered with this ID. Then they went to the catalog and performed such and such events. Here, you need to analyze your analytics, what events it has tracked, so you need to set up additional analytics on your site. And after that, there's an additional complexity here because consent mode is also enabled, making it a bit more difficult to analyze everything. And she looks at what happened next with this product position. So, when in accounts, for example, there are situations where performance pours all the money into just a specific set of products. For example, one product position. It pours money and resources there. There are such projects that come. This happens for the simple reason that it found the easiest way to achieve your KPIs, meaning the settings, variability, budget, structure, and other actions you set. The analytics collected showed that users visit this position, then browse the catalog and make purchases. This is the mechanics of conversions. It does not guarantee that there will be conversions. There is no such guarantee because a person might browse the catalog and not make a purchase. The guarantee is more or less relative in the calculations of these conversion coefficients, predicted and others. It will be more likely with such a behavior model if there are more than 1,000 or 2,000, for example, behavioral patterns for the system, right, over the smallest period. The smallest period it operates with, based on my experience, and this is my personal subjective opinion, may not align with the reality of integrating these tools because I cannot access the codes or permissions I can only observe in practice. This period is 7 days. They're optimally 2 weeks and it starts going up. This can go on indefinitely, but remember that the biggest lag is a maximum of 45 days and even 28 days. Now, as I see, all reports operate with 28-day statistics. Clear, right? So the more of these behavioral patterns. And if you have, for example, a very single-layered product, let's say you have 40,000 positions of just paint. Yes, it differs in colors, but it's just 20,000 products of different shades. It's very difficult to sell them all at once. You need to generate a fairly large sample that is presentable for the system so that it fits very well into the client's avatar. But of course, the AI in this tool has a great tendency to go into some A/B tests and generally manage the advertising account according to the necessary goals, because lately I haven't noticed that if it doesn't work out, it reverts to previous options. No, everything was going great. Added some tests, something started working, began investing money there. It seemed to be going well, then exhausted that audience. Instead of going back to the old option, and most likely the old option is just using the functionality of dendro marketing, so he doesn't go back. He does another A/B test and keeps experimenting. Therefore, in some cases, he completely changes the direction of his thoughts, impressions, and other things. Based on all this in-depth analysis, sometimes when your strategy with cash cows doesn't work, it often fails for you because, as a matter of fact, indeed, you are not selecting the right products. You need these leads from Unisort, but sometimes they might not sell at all here, and your advertising account might only perform through cross-sales. There are such situations, there are such products, there are such niches. When looking at cross-selling, a very nice picture emerges. As soon as you return to some direct calculation, profitability, something like that, you might see a not entirely accurate situation. Sometimes in this account, there are conversions that come in much later. For example, there was a click, I don't know, last Monday, and the person placed an order only on Tuesday. But you already excluded this product from the ad on Wednesday or Tuesday. In other words, retrospectively, if you review previous periods, you will see this conversion. You can even see it in these reports. But you have already made the decision, and conditionally, you just didn't fully engage a certain portion of the clients. Therefore, in general, one of the recommendations would be to stop analyzing your performance in a direct format, because Google itself has moved away from this analysis. Of course, it's great. It's a very cool situation when you see expenses, high profits, your profitability is growing nicely, conversions are increasing, but this is not always achieved, or rather not always, through just some dumb advertising. Sometimes you need to play around with it, especially now after March 6th, when Google completely switched to a different targeting format, meaning it moved from third-party cookies to first-party data, right? He completely changed, you know. It's not just like flipping a switch or checking a new box, and he changed. No. And then there's all this smart shopping, the initial performance, which I didn't like so much. It's just smart shopping. It just learned how to do all of this. That's its functionality. We got into the groove. We just started living, breathing, earning, and now it completely redoes everything again. So, all these periods when your performance is fluctuating are related to the fact that it is currently learning on your money. On my money, efforts, blood, nerves, and so on. You can still vary in these moments, but no matter how much you consult your specialists, who say you need to watch your expenses, it doesn't work that way. It means you need to switch to a completely different strategy format, of course. This is called emergency crisis management in these advertising campaigns. but it is still present. It's a bit easier with this project, which already existed in a concentrated form. It's much simpler for them. And one more of my recommendations. Don't forget to set up advanced tracking transmission. Be sure to transmit emails and phone numbers. If you have the ability to transmit zip codes, make sure to do so. You don't even realize how useful it can be to transmit zip codes. So, this video about discussing definitely seems very important indeed. It seemed important to me because I saw advertising campaigns for those bestsellers in at least 3 consultations. They were called that on Don Korovic, but this is not the type of strategy you need to start with. This is not quite the story that might work for you because you may have simply selected the wrong products.